Hello. So it's almost midnight, but I really felt called to jump on and do this video for you. So I'm going to try to break this down in a very concise way so it makes sense for you. In the lower worlds, the unconscious worlds, where people are still operating with a lot of fear, which is the majority of the world. So imagine the lower worlds and the higher world. The higher world looks like the top of a mountain or the top of a spiral. Okay? And then as it goes down, it gets like wider and wider and wider. Things start to get more separate. As you spiral up, things start to unify. Is this making sense? So in the higher world, everything is operating in unison, in harmony. Everything's vibrating at the same, well, they might be vibrating at a different frequency, but everything is harmonious. In the lower worlds, everything is disharmonious. So everything is divided, segregated, because of the fear that we have produced through our trauma. So whenever you have trauma in the body, then you start to create these beliefs that are fearful. I can't trust you because blah, 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 right? So these are all beliefs that we formulate that create more division in the world. The majority of humans on this planet are living in the lower worlds. And who can fault them? I mean, when you're living in a lower world, you are separate from everyone else. So you have your own personality, your own identity. Your ego loves to wrap itself around your accomplishments. I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a mom, I'm a this, I'm a this, I'm a that. So the ego loves to hijack any accomplishment because then it's like, this is mine. Stay away from it. Yeah. So in the lower world, there's a lot of competition. There's a need to prove. There's a need to be adored or approved of, and so on and so on. So it's all stemming from a place of lack and fear and insufficiency. I'm not enough, so I need you to be there for me. So in codependency is a perfect example of lower worlds. It's when one individual isn't able to generate life force energy because they haven't really hooked up with God yet. When you hook up with Source or God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. When you hook up to God, then you start to generate more energy because God is running through you. God is generating energy through you. That's why you become so creative, because now you're tapping into the genius that is God. And then you become like a mini version of that. Okay. Now, people in lower worlds, like in codependent relationships, they have to depend on each other to generate some energy because each individual isn't able to access their own life force or God's energy because they keep making poor choices, they keep gossiping, they keep expecting, they keep mistreating. So then they need another person with them to generate more energy. Okay, I hope this is making sense. But it's still rooted in conditional love. So let's make it very simple. The lower world, where there's all this segregation and division, it's a conditionally loving world. Okay? It's a conditionally loving world full of expectations. And if you don't meet my expectations, I'm going to lash out at you. I'm going to give you a hard time, right? Because it's conditional love. There's no honor. There's no respect towards other souls. It's what can I get from you? Okay? How much money can I make today? So money is seen as something that's separate from energy, from God's energy. So the reason why you can't really blame people who remain in these lower worlds is because the amount of ego that they would have to sacrifice, it's like, why would they want to do that? They would have to give up who they think they are. They would have to purify their heart. They would have to start taking responsibility for themselves. They would have to stop gossiping about other people, right? So they wouldn't be fun anymore to their friends. So they would have to give up so many toxic behaviors that they're unwilling to give up. And it makes sense. They get to hold on to the idea of who they think they are. Okay? I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm a mom. I'm a this. I've achieved this. I've achieved that. I make this amount of money. Most people don't want to give that up. So you can't really fault them. That's why you always have to find compassion in your heart, because it makes sense. If you've been in survival mode your whole life, then you want what's yours to be yours and you don't want to share it. Now, here's the thing. The reason why there haven't been a lot of Buddhas or Dalai Lamas in this world is because it requires a tremendous amount of sacrifice. You basically have to die to yourself over and over and over and over again until there's no more fear in you, until you have nothing left to lose. And it's at that point that you become one with Source, one with the universe, one with God. So from that point forward, there is no more you. Your life isn't about you anymore, okay? But in order to get to the top of that mountain, right, to the top at the very point where everything is one, there's so many tests that the universe will put you through. An example of a test is you have an opportunity to make $500 today, but your body's telling you to rest. Most people are going to take the $500, even though their spirit is screaming, don't do it. So people sell their soul all the time in the name of money, in the name of a relationship where they're just using the other person because the other person can provide them with a comfortable life, and so on and so on. So people sell their soul all the time, which is why they remain in this world that is divisive. Okay? That's why jealousy, envy, fear, greed, blame, shame, guilt, these are all very low frequencies that perpetuate the division on this planet. So as you spiral up, meaning as you're in the process of purifying your heart, by no longer talking smack about people, by no longer negatively reacting to people and taking responsibility for yourself, right? Addressing your own traumas, healing your own traumas, healing your heart, yeah? Choosing what the universe is asking you to do or God is asking you to do over the instant gratification of, oh, I can make money today, right? It's like all these different tests. I call them initiations that you have to go through. But what I would say to you is, it's so worth it. It is so worth it because as you start to elevate your state of consciousness, like I said, your life is no longer about you, but you feel so held by the entire universe because the universe sees you as someone who is selfless. Selfless in the sense that you're choosing unconditional love, right? If you know in your heart that you're unconditionally loved, would you force yourself to work that day? No, of course you wouldn't. You would do what feels unconditionally loving. Most people don't want to go there because that means they're going to lose money or they might lose their business. So they don't want to go there. You have to be willing to cross a bridge with a blindfold on. You have to be willing to go against the grain of the wood of what everyone else is doing. Most people don't want to do that. That's why very few achieve enlightenment in this life. That's why very few achieve enlightenment. Because you have to sacrifice your ego over and over and over again. And when you do that, you're gradually clearing the fear out of your body, and then there's nothing left in you. So then God, Source, the universe, whatever vernacular you want to use, takes over your body. You become a pure conduit for that higher intelligence. And it starts to instruct you throughout the day. Your life isn't about you anymore. There's a higher power running your life. And the reason why you're on board is because you feel so much better. Generally speaking, you don't talk bad about people anymore. If you do, you get sick. You feel how diseased that lower world is. You feel it. You feel the disease right away. In the beginning, you don't feel it because your heart still isn't pure. So you're like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's the end of the world when your heart is pure. To talk bad about people, to lie to people. You feel sick. So your life isn't about you, but you're so abundant because this higher intelligence has taken over your life. There is no such thing as money at that point or people. Everything is unconditional love, and that's all you follow. I hope this helps you.